يا حماة الحمى هلموا لمجد الزمن لقد صرخت في عروقنا الدماء نموت ويحيى الوطن.
2011 marks the 70th anniversary of Freedomhouse. From its beginning, Freedomhouse has advocated for those whose basic rights are threatened and whose voices are suppressed. Its history begins in 1941 as the brutality of Nazism and fascism menaced most of Europe as they spread throughout the continent. Increasingly alarmed by the news from overseas, Freedomhouse was founded by a group of men and women who saw the crisis abroad as a threat to freedom everywhere.
Despite the propaganda and confusion of recent months, it is now obvious that England is losing the war.
England will not only survive, England will win.
Although facing strong isolationist sentiment at home, they took on the mission of encouraging political and popular support for American involvement in Europe.
We want no war. We'll have no war, save in defense of our own people or our own honor.
Believing that the spread of democracy was totalitarianism's greatest adversary, they named their new organization Freedomhouse. It would stand as the symbolic antithesis of Nazi Party headquarters in Berlin, Hitler's Brown House.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight,
during the war, Freedomhouse served as a meeting place for freedom advocates, disseminated pro-democracy literature, and used their in-house studio to air broadcasts to the occupied countries of Europe. On its one-year anniversary, President Roosevelt thanked Freedomhouse for their contribution to the cause of democracy, saying that the organization had earned the support and gratitude of freedom-loving peoples everywhere.
America hopes for peace. Therefore, America actively engages in the search for peace.
Over the past 7 decades, Freedomhouse has continued to build on that legacy. Although a forceful and outspoken opponent of communism, Freedomhouse aggressively challenged McCarthyism and its threat to civil liberties at home.
If you're to be called a communist every time you stand up for basic American rights and freedoms, what's likely to happen? Will you be silent? And if so, is this what the House Committee on Un-American Activities is really after? A silent, submissive, unprotesting America?
It was an early and stalwart supporter of racial equality, with several prominent civil rights leaders serving as trustees.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
And it advocated for thoughtful and civil discourse during the divisive years of the Vietnam War. In the 1970s, Freedomhouse launched its annual surveys analyzing global political rights, civil liberties, and press freedom.
The surveys came out of the map. First, I said, we've got to have we had a great building on 40th Street in New York and a big lobby. And I created a map 20 feet long and 15 feet high with all the countries. But I needed data to know precisely what the state was, what the state of the art was in each case with respect to human freedom. And so then we needed a survey to get the data. So that's how the surveys began. It began with a map.
In the 1980s, its staff served as some of the first to monitor volatile elections in struggling democracies. Freedomhouse continued to expand throughout the 1990s, taking on new challenges to the expansion of freedom and helping to stabilize civil society in new, fragile democracies. Today, Freedomhouse has increased its global presence in difficult areas with offices located everywhere from South Africa to Jordan, Kyrgyzstan to Indonesia. We partner with regional activists in bolstering civil society, work to support women's rights, seek justice for victims of torture, defend journalists and free expression advocates, and assist those struggling to promote human rights in difficult political environments. We hope you will join us as we celebrate this extraordinary milestone. We also hope you will help Freedom House build on its notable legacy by making a contribution today. Much has changed in the world since 1941, but the need to protect human rights and to act as a clear voice for freedom remains. Freedom House began with that purpose and is proud to continue that tradition today.